All right, it is time to brunch with Bud. You see him there, my old partner, I should say, Bud Poliquin, joining us to talk all things sports here on a Tuesday morning. Hello, everybody, and welcome aboard. This is our weekly spot. It is brought to you by our friends at Cam's Pizzeria, where it is always love at first slice. Go see our friends at Cam's with locations in Camillus and Oswego. All right, Bud Poliquin, time to talk some sports with you, and let's kick it off with some SU football. The Orange go on the road, and for the first time in their history, they beat the Clemson Tigers. Bud, I know Clemson is 1-3, but how momentous should we be feeling about this particular victory for Syracuse?
Well, it's a great win. Let's understand that playing Clemson in Clemson and beating Clemson in Clemson is that's great. It's terrific. There's zero way to diminish that victory. However, Clemson this year and Dabo this year are looking terrible. That team and that coach are looking terrible. They were number 4 in the country, and they had the highest retention rate of any team in the country. That means they had more people coming back, people that didn't lose to the portal, people who didn't go off to the NFL, people who didn't graduate. They had more returners than anybody in football, or at least anybody in Power 4 or whatever it was. They had a lot of people. They were ranked number 4. They had a quarterback who was considered a top 1, 2, 3, 4 pick in the NFL draft. So they're loaded. They have everything they needed, and now they're 1-3. No, they're 0-3. No, they won a game.
1-3, correct. Yeah, they beat Troy.
That's it. That's forget. So anyway, great for SU. It's too bad they lost their quarterback. That's a big loss, and I don't know if the victory was worth losing the quarterback. But right now, and you can call me, I don't know if I'm a homer at this point, don't get me wrong, but I really thought they might have snuck into the lower end of the top 25 this week. They got votes in both polls, coaches and AP, but they didn't make it in the top 25. I'm a little surprised about it, but no, it was a terrific win. Well,
you brought it up. Let's talk about it. There he is, Steve Angeli, down on the field. Pete Thamel of ESPN reporting that it is an Achilles, and he is done for the season. I don't know if Syracuse yet has confirmed this, Bud, but regardless, it's bad. Looks like he's done for the season. Now, here's the thing. Fran Brown, not only has he done a good job, recruiting better starting players for Syracuse, but I think one of the other things that he's effectively done, Bud, is he started to bolster the depth chart for Syracuse, and he has some very, very viable second-string guys, and it happens to be that one of those guys is one of the backup quarterbacks, and that, of course, is Ricky Collins, who many thought would start this season. So it seems like Syracuse could legitimately move forward here and continue on the same path with Collins at QB. Give us your thoughts on that.
Well, again, they still have a daunting schedule, and the coach somehow has determined that this is his second-best quarterback. So I'm guessing that, sure, he might be something. It's not on. It wouldn't be the first time a backup quarterback came on and either equaled or exceeded the performance of the starting quarterback. So that could happen. And they still have a tough schedule. But with the Clemson win in their pocket, and with Carolina, that is North Carolina, looking like, the clown show that some of us thought it would be.
Yeah.
Suddenly I might have to stand down, because I said a bowl game, and to win 7 games would be the borderline miracle. Well, not so much anymore. I'm not a believer yet, only because of the schedule. Let them steal another one, and suddenly we may have something on our hands, because SMU is maybe not what we thought, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. Maybe this quarterback will be fine. We'll see. I mean, that's why they play the games, right? So we'll find out.
Well, Bud, also on the field, aside from Angeli getting legitimately hurt, apparently Syracuse was feigning some injuries, at least according to the ACC. They weren't too happy with Syracuse. Just fined them the other day, $25,000. That's the largest fine, I guess, that you can implement in this situation. And this apparently is some kind of ACC crackdown on teams essentially having players fake injuries like we see in soccer all the time across the world, and delaying the clock or getting substitutes on the field or getting your defense or an offense a rest. So give me your thoughts on this. It's been going on for a while. I've seen it in major college football games for several years and haven't heard any thoughts about cracking down, but it does seem like the ACC is getting busy on this front.
Well, it's a cross between gamesmanship and cheating, if you ask me. And I don't like either. I don't like gamesmanship, and I certainly don't like cheating. So I think, throw the book at Syracuse and anybody else. I'm not picking on the Orange alone. 25,000 to me seems light. I think the next time around should be 50 or 100. This isn't good for the game. It isn't good for the spirit of competition. It's cheating. It's flat out cheating.
Mhm.
Now, what degree of cheating is it? I don't know. If you're playing basketball and you're going for a rebound and you step on the toes of the guy you're trying to get the rebound against, is that cheating? Yeah. You know, do you grab the guy's uniform so he can't kind of jump? That's cheating. Yeah. That's a different kind of cheating. This is a flat out stoppage of the game to gain a competitive advantage. That to me is fairly grievous, and I'd double it. I think 25 is light. I don't think that's a deterrent. Not for the money that people are throwing around these days.
No, that's for sure.
25 is not a deterrent in my mind.
Yeah, virtual slap on the wrist, but interesting to see that they're going to enforce this. I mean, but in my opinion, if this is something you're going to enforce, I would rather see it enforced on the field and there be penalties. Let's have a 15-yarder and call it some kind of personal foul, because to me, that's how you deter it. A 25,000 or even a 50 or $100,000 fine, it's not going to deter it on the field. If coaches are going to do this, they think that it's going to make a difference to get a player rest, to get a different guy in the game, and that results in potentially you winning the game. They're going to do it until the penalties are much more severe.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, and we can add this to it. When you're playing big time college football and you have to get into the tournament, would you pay $100,000 for a victory?
Yes.
Yes, you would.
Of course you would.
So every school say, wait a minute, if we cheat, it's going to cost $100,000, but by cheating, we might win the game, might have a clear road to victory.
Right.
There's not a school in the country that wouldn't say, hey, I'll pay $100,000 for a victory.
Yep.
So yeah, you're right. Whack them on the
crazy.
field. Whack them on the field rather than in the wallet, or both.
Well, the ADs of the ACC were meeting this week, and Bud, they came back with some interesting news. And the other three Power Four, we don't have Power Five now. We only have Power Four conferences now in college football. The other three Power Four conferences all have moved in recent years to a 9-game in-conference schedule. The ACC has decided they are going to jump on board here. So I think starting next season, it'll be 9 games in conference. A 10th game will have to be played against another Power 4 team, and then I guess you'll have the flexibility of a couple of games outside of the conference that you can decide. There are, say, your Powder Puffs or some other types of games that you could schedule. So give me your thoughts on this. Do you like that college football is going this direction?
I like that you're forcing people to schedule only 2 cupcakes. That's a great thing. Okay, I don't think it's just scheduling. But okay, you get your 2 cupcakes, you schedule your 2 victories, you manipulate your schedule. This is something the pros aren't allowed to do, but the colleges can manipulate their schedule, therefore kind of manipulate their season. I hate it. There should be a central scheduling bureau, which now you have to put in your schedule and get it approved. Okay, I've been on that rant for a long time. What do I think of this? I like the idea that you can only now schedule 2 cupcakes. I don't like the idea that you're handcuffed. You only have one chance now, to go schedule somebody with some meat on the bone, something that would excite the fans, something that would prove your mettle. I don't like that. I don't think any team will schedule 2 outside. I think they're going to keep the 2 cupcakes and 1. So I have mixed feelings because I don't like more than 2 cupcakes, but I also like the idea that you're only going to go out once to a Power 4.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. I have mixed emotions on it. I'm sorry I'm not more definitive. I just don't know. We're going to have to see how it plays out.
Well, let's see if you have mixed emotions on this guy. I always love to ask you, and we'll stay in college sports here, this time in the world of basketball. But Bruce Pearl recently announced that he is stepping down as head coach at Auburn. Now he's staying on the staff there, and his son is actually going to become the head coach. I guess he's been an assistant coach for the last 2 years. Certainly got Auburn back on the road to success, had some success, as we remember, at Tennessee. You run across Bruce Pearl in your travels? I know you covered a lot of Final Fours. You have an impression about this guy?
From afar, I've sort of enjoyed his approach because he seems to have, his feet, 1 foot in the college basketball thing and 1 foot in the real world. And he kind of has an understanding of, there's life beyond basketball. court. The one thing I don't like though about this, and the answer to the question is no, I never had a one-on-one. I never,
Okay.
I never had that. The one thing I don't like about this at all is that there's talk, and when there's talk, there's generally action that he's going to run for Congress.
No.
As a Republican down there, and
Another coach running for Congress.
I hate the idea that the Tommy Tubervilles of the world or the Herschel Walkers of the world or whatever uh, are given a green light to, just because you're famous, we're going to kind of ask the voters to look past just your fame and try and focus in on your ability to lead.
Right.
And voters aren't going to do that. They're going to say, oh, Pearl's a great guy. Herschel Walker's a great guy. Tommy Tuberville's a great guy. And we've all seen how Tommy Tuberville has performed. So what I don't like is that Pearl is leaving, and the timing is such that his son gets to take over, because look how close we are to the regular season. So the timing allows his son to take over, a little bit of nepotism there, which I don't like. And now we might get another jock coach, famous person in Congress, a person who's never done anything of note in his life outside of basketball. So I don't like that for the way we're supposed to be running things in this country. It
saddens you.
It rubs me the wrong way that a basketball coach could be in Congress simply because he was a good basketball coach.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Bud, sometimes we get listener questions, dare I say, viewer questions, I should say, because not only do they listen, but they watch us here on the new YouTube unit. And when we return, I will bring one to the fold, a question directly for Bud from the listeners. And by the way, any of you listener viewers want to ask questions of Bud or any of our guests, you can always do what this listener did and just send it along, pass it along, and I will gladly pass along that question. So, Bud, when we return, we will have a listener question for you, a viewer question, all right? Right after we hear a little bit more from our friends at Cam's Pizzeria, sponsor of today's video.
When you think of Cam's Pizzeria, think about two of your favorites, their zesty buffalo chicken wing pizza or their tasty chicken bacon ranch. Over 16 specialty pizzas made fresh daily with the best ingredients. Indulge in their homemade calzones, subs, wraps, salads, and their famous cannolis for dessert. They're all made with love just for you. Order online for 10% off at camspizza.com. Locations in Camillus and Oswego. Cam's Pizzeria. It's love at first slice.
All right, we are back. It is Brunch with Bud Poliquin, our weekly spot every Tuesday, talking sports. Today's broadcast, as you just saw, brought to you by our friends at Cam's Pizzeria. Don't forget to like, hit the little thumbs up, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bud, our newest prize. I don't know if can I reach over and grab it here, but I'm going to try to with my foot. Oh, yeah. Okay, I think I got it. Yes, without having to get off screen. Bud, you're going to love this. It's not a persimmon, but we are giving away, once we get to 500 subscribers, and we're only less than 200 subscribers away. We already have top 300 subscribers. This Highbore XL Cleveland driver, Bud, courtesy of our friends at Play It Again Sports. It is brand new, still in the wrapper, my friend. Look at this baby. Woo! Technology at its best, Bud. Ba-boom!
That's amazing. That is a big old
$400 retail value, and it's going out the door. Once we get to 500 subscribers. So we hope to get there very, very quickly. We've been doing a really, really good job. And our listeners, I should say, our viewers have done a really, really good job of jumping in and supporting our channel. So if you do that, do it now. Be one of the first 500. Less than 200 spots available. And you will be automatically in the drawing for that brand new driver from our friends at Play It Again.
Sounds great. That's a big look.
You know what you should do, Bud? I mean, we've been giving away, we're going to be giving away some nostalgic items. We just are about to give away, we already are picking our winner. We're going to announce it on Wednesday, a David Tyree autograph the catch framed photo that I have sitting right here on my wall. And, I said that we've had a lot of really cool things that were on the walls of the studio that I've brought home. And I'm just like, look, I don't really have the space for some of this stuff, and I'd love to maybe give it away to people who join in our new YouTube adventure and our digital adventure. And so we're doing that. And maybe, Bud, in terms of nostalgia, if you still have one of those persimmon woods around, I mean, maybe after we give away this beautiful $400 driver, we give away one of your worthless persimmon woods that you used to play golf with when I first started playing golf with you at Green Lake State Park in good old Manlius or Fayetteville, New York. Yes, sir.
Fayetteville. Do you remember I used to have the wooden putter as well? I had a wooden.
You did have a wooden putter. I remember that.
Think about that.
Did you like carve that out yourself? Like you have like a carving station at home in your basement, and you like carve things, and you carved your own wooden putter?
No, I saw it somewhere, an ad, and it says, some guy's going to carve it in his basement or whatever, and then they put your name on it and so on. So I got it. I couldn't figure it out. I was never a good putter, but I became a worse putter with that thing. But anyway.
All right. So Phil, one of our viewers, asked a question to pass along to you, bud, and so I pass it along to you tonight, and I will throw up a picture to accentuate it. But he asked the following question. He knows you're a baseball guy, and he said, which one, Aaron Judge or Cal Raleigh? Who should get the AL MVP this season? Or is there somebody he's not mentioning, bud? I'll open the floor up for you.
Well, there's no one else. It's these two guys. And guess what? I'm not going to be upset if my choice doesn't win. But guess what? I don't know how you look at the two seasons. As great as Judge has been, I don't know how you vote against Cal Raleigh. The guy may get to 60 home runs. He's got 58. The guy may get to 125 RBIs. The guy has played, I think he's going to play 150 some odd games as a catcher. Now, he DH'd a couple times. I know that. And really only a few times. But Judge has been hurt. Oh, and by the way, he's going to play for a team and be the anchor for that team that's going to win the division, the American League West.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you take an injured outfielder? And I love Judge. Again, if Judge gets it, good for him. He'd be very worthy. But you have a starting catcher who's a Gold Glove caliber catcher, who's a noted handler of a pitching staff, who suits up and is healthy enough to play. He's going to play 150 some odd games this year. Who might hit 60 homers. He only needs 2 more swings. Who might drive 125 runs. Who does do this all for a division champion. To me, it's easy. It's Cal Raleigh. But as easy as it is, if the other guy wins it, I'll say very deserving.
All right, one other story I want to get to in baseball before we get to the playoffs, because I certainly do want to preview the playoffs, and that is the LA Dodgers become the 10th team, bud, just very recently, to pass the 4 million mark. I think the Mets and Yankees were the last 2 teams to do it. So LA, for the first time in their history, has reached 4 million fans at the ballpark. Baseball's dying, right? It's dead. Isn't baseball dead? I think it's dead.
You're setting this on a tee for me. Excuse me. You got me all excited here. I'm old enough to remember. Now I have to go back to when I was a kid, but still enough. I'm old enough to remember that when if you drew 1 million people in a season, if you had a 1 million home attendance, that was considered stop the presses. Wow, we drew 1 million people this year.
Yep.
The 1 millionth fan walked through the turnstile. It was a big deal. Okay. If you look back to when Maris hit his 61st home run, they were like, I don't know, you can look it up. Too bad Boyd Green isn't with us. He'd have it in a minute. But there were like 16,000 people in the seats in Yankee Stadium. Now, if anybody was going for 61 home runs in Yankee Stadium today, you'd have 40,000 or more. All right. So people who say that baseball is dying or people don't like it or blah, 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 I don't know what their metrics are. I don't know what they are. Now, if the metric is you go driving around in any town in America and you look at the Little League field, is there any bunch of 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 15-year-old kids? Are the kids playing pickup baseball? No, there's not. That's heartbreaking because it never used to be that way. But when you talk about the allure of the game and does it get people to come through and spend ridiculous amounts of money for tickets, and you have one team drawing 4 million, and the expectation is what you're going to get 1 million, 1.5 million. Everybody shoots for 2. If you're really hot, you're 3. And once in a while, you get a Dodgers outfit that gets 4.
Yeah.
So it's a great story in the here and now for this season's Dodgers, but it's a referendum on those who suggest that baseball is like, who cares? I'll tell you who care. The people who go to the games care. Forget TV ratings. My argument is I don't care about TV ratings. Baseball is more regional. If the Royals play the Tigers, no big deal. But if the Kansas City Chiefs play the Detroit Lions, everybody is watching. if it's the Royals versus the Tigers, basically Kansas City and Detroit fans are watching. I get that. It's not a national game in that regard, but in the communities, in these towns, baseball is a big ticket. And I'll remind everybody again, in any given season, there are more tickets sold to big league baseball games than to NFL, NBA, and NHL combined. There you go. That's what I think.
162, but you're right to say it.
Oh,
Baseball.
I know. Well, they each play 81 home games, but they're the only sport that could play 81 home games.
Yeah.
Who's your New York Giants? If they played 81 home games and 81 road games, you're Mr. Giant. Would you say, "Oh, I'm going to pull up a chair"? No. You pull up a chair because they're only playing 17 of them. Let those guys play 162. Let's see how many people are in the seats or in front of their TVs.
We played that many games in a football season, but they'd all be by the end of the season playing in wheelchairs, unfortunately.
Well, I understand it. I understand. I know there's a reason, but
Yes,
if the Giants were let's see, the baseball equivalent of the Giants, they'd be like at 70 and 92 by the end of the year.
Yes.
You're not even watching them. Come on. You have a hard time watching the Mets, and they're almost in the playoffs.
That is true.
So there.
I can't argue that with you. I can't argue at all. All right, fair enough. All right, let's save the best nugget for last in terms of baseball, and that is let's talk about the baseball playoffs. We are down to the nitty-gritty here. The last couple of wild card spots, very, very much at play. The National League, 3 teams battling it out right now. The Cincinnati Reds have the upper hand. They're tied with the Mets, but they have the tiebreaker. The Arizona Cardinals breathing down the necks. I think all 3 teams have 6 games left on their schedule, so we basically have a week left to the regular season. How's it gonna go? How's it gonna fall out, bud? Are my Mets gonna blow it? Are they gonna blow it? It feels like they are. Oh my goodness.
Well, there are 7 teams. There's 3 in the National, 4 in the American. 7 teams, and according to my math, 5 of those teams, all 4 in the American League and 1 Cincinnati in the National League, 5 of the teams control their own destiny. Each team has 6 games left. If 5 of these teams go 6-0, well, if all 5 go, then you're going to have tiebreakers, and somebody might not make it. But by and large, well, in the American League, who cares about it? I don't want to get too involved, but the bottom line is there's 6 games left for each team. Each of those 6 games is a playoff game because all these teams know if we win today's game, we can play again tomorrow with the hopes of going to the playoffs and therefore the World Series. So Boston, the Tigers, the Guardians, and the Astros on the one side, and the Mets, the Diamondbacks, and the Reds on the other. Who's going to win? Jim, it's baseball. Who knows? I mean, the Astros, as an example, are playing on the road, 3 against the Athletics, 3 against the Angels. If they win all 6 games, and why shouldn't they? Because they're the better team, then they're in the playoffs. Doesn't matter how Cleveland and Detroit turns out, because Cleveland and Detroit, they're going to knock each other off. They got 3 games against each other starting tomorrow. Right. But the last month it was, the Oakland, the Sacramento, whoever they are, the Athletics came into Houston and they won 4 straight games. They swept the Houston Astros. The Athletics did in Houston. So you say who's going to win it? I don't know. I don't know which of these 7 teams survive. I have no idea.
I mean, the Mets just lost 2 or 3 from the lousy Nationals. The Nationals have really gotten under the Mets' skin this year. I'm like, my goodness.
But I will say this. What is an amazing story that baseball fans are really like, wow. On August 25th, the Cleveland Guardians were 12 and a half games out of first place. 12 and a half games. They play Detroit in Cleveland tonight, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. 3 games. If they win 2 of them, they're in first place going in the final weekend after being back 12 and a half games at the end of last month. That's less than a month ago. Today's what, the 23rd? Yeah, today's the 23rd. On August 25th, less than a month ago, they're 12 and a half out. That's stunning. So the idea of Cleveland's tension and Detroit's collapse, just fairly historic. It's amazing.
So you're not picking a team either way? Who you got?
All right. Am I going to pick a team? I'm
going to pick Give me one in each.
One in each. Okay.
Last spot?
I'm going to pick the Mets because I'm going to say Soto is going to go nuts.
Okay.
And and
He
the
has been, and they
Reds.
still can't win.
Okay. Well, yeah, but they got Alonso too, and they got Lindor. I mean, they've
Okay.
got some real people in that lineup. At
They got the
least
vets.
three.
I always
And
think
they've
those guys do
struggled.
tend to come through.
I know everything about now. You know more than me, but I understand what's going on in the Mets. I got to go talent in the 6 games, and
Okay.
on the other side, because the worst team of the four on the other side are the Astros. Okay, they're just decimated with injuries. They're just really not that good. They're not that athletic, and they're old and they're broken down. However, their schedule is such that there's little reason not to win the next 6 games. I think I'm gonna have to pick them to get in. But
Mm,
so what? That means there's 4 over there. 3 of them are getting in.
yeah.
So the team without a seat, I'm telling you, the baseball gods. This is crazy, and I can't defend this. The baseball gods are going to keep Detroit out. Detroit was
Oh,
considered the best team in baseball. Detroit was the best team in baseball 2 months ago,
yep.
and now they might not make the playoffs. And what a story that would be! A
Wow.
brutal story. But I'm going to say the Mets in the National League get the last spot, and the
Tigers.
Astros,
Oh,
Red Sox, and Guardians get the 3 spots in the American League.
wow.
But
Wow.
the best team of those, I do believe, is Boston. And then I'm going to guess Detroit's the second best team. Cleveland's the third best team. The Astros are the fourth of those 4. But I think the Astros are going to get in on the dint of their schedule.
Okay.
All 6 are away, are all on the road, but they're playing, mediocrities at best.
All
The
right.
Athletics and the Angels.
We did it all today. College, pro, some side stories, even a
Oh,
little
whoa, whoa, whoa,
persimmon
whoa.
foot golf action. Is there anything else that you want? He's giving me the whoa-whoa. I'm going to give you the mic one more time. I know you always have to drop the mic, bud, so go ahead. What do you
No,
have? Drop the mic.
I'm going to allow you to drop the mic.
Oh, really?
I've got 3 words for you.
Okay.
New York Giants.
Yeah. Bravo. Way to go, bud. You a fan?
No.
You're not?
Go. Tell me about the Giants.
Well, we're a team that's been in a rebuild for quite a while.
You're 0-3, right?
We're 0-3.
And
Just
you
like the
lost
Jets
you lost
and the
on
Giants.
Sunday. You
We
lost to
the
Kansas City.
Jets and the Giants are both 0-3. So outside of the Bills, though the Bills are really the only truly New York team, the only one actually really play in the state. It's been a sad start. There's no question. Just like the Jets, the Giants could easily be 2-1. You love to play that card, so let's play it. And I know the score might not dictate that they could have won the other night against Kansas City, but if you watch that game, they very well could have won that game against Kansas City. I mean, any appearance of offense in the first half when Kansas City was basically handing them the game would have given the Giants potentially the opportunity to win that game. The defense, I actually think, played pretty admirably for the first time this season for the Giants. They obviously are transitioning at quarterback. I like that they are, at least at this point, they're going to rush it as they always do, that they're not playing the kid, but it's going to be another week or two, probably that New Orleans game. And here we go, roll the kid in there, even though they have a daunting schedule around that, and he'll have to face all these terrible guys, and the offensive line really can't block. At least Andrew Thomas returned the other day, so we got to see a little bit more of what the line should be, which was a little improved, but still wasn't really producing. And I was very angry coming out of this last game. I haven't really been so far. A lot of fans out there, a lot of my Giant fan friends do not like Brian Daboll, want Brian Daboll fired. I have actually been a supporter. I love stability, and I haven't seen anything inherently wrong in the way that Daboll has coached, at least on the field during games. But in that game the other night against Kansas City, I was very upset with Brian Daboll and his inability for an entire half to get the ball to his star player. You just have to be able to do that. The Giants botched it with Saquon Barkley, and they weren't getting him the ball enough and not in the right places on the field. And now they're doing the same thing with Neighbors. Find a way. I don't care if they're doubling him. I don't care if they're bracketing him. I don't care if they're throwing all these weird zone looks. What is Steve Spagnuolo, some kind of defensive genius that he hasn't done any of this stuff before? I mean, look at the film, boys. Figure it out and make an adjustment. That was not good to have their star player catch 2 balls for 13 yards and even get him until late in the game when it didn't matter. All right, an entire half, and you don't run him on a reverse. You don't set him up for a screen. You don't run some kind of gadget play that gets him the ball. I mean, my goodness, do something to get your best player on offense the football. So I have a big bone to pick with Brian Daboll this week.
I have one other comment about the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I have pulled off Aaron Rodgers a long time ago because he's just terminally weird. He's just a weird man, and he does, he's a weird dude. Okay,
Mhm.
he's clearly not what he was. And when you watch that Patriot game, if you did you watch a Patriot game?
I did watch pieces of it. Yes.
Okay. So he was terrible. However, he had two exquisite
Yeah.
touchdown passes.
He did.
He just said, "What? How does he do that?"
Yeah.
He put the ball. I don't even know. Both of his touchdown passes were extraordinary throws. And I sit there and I say, I don't like this guy. And objectively, everybody will tell you he's past his prime. But then, like you always say, he pushes the sun back up into the sky or whatever.
Yep.
Every so often, he'll throw a ball and you'll just say, nobody in the league,
Yeah.
almost nobody in the league makes that pass.
Who else could do it?
So they're really not so good, the Steelers. But every so often that guy says, I ain't 42, I'm 27 all over again.
Yeah.
Not often, but on two plays anyway. On Sunday, he made passes where you just said,
Yep.
How? Why? That's impossible. But he'd made them.
Look, regardless of the strangeness, he's going to the Hall of Fame. I mean, I don't see how he's in the Hall of Fame.
First out. They can't keep, just because your weirdness doesn't keep you out of law.
Doesn't keep you out. Doesn't keep you out.
But,
So yeah, you're right to say it, and it's true. But again, here are the Steelers again, 2-1, perfect position to continue rolling towards the playoffs. Another over 500 year likely for Mike Tomlin. It's the beat goes on in Pittsburgh. Of course, they want championships there, so they're not thrilled about this. Okay, we're just finishing over 500 every year.
Right.
Sometimes scraping our way into the playoffs, kind of thing, and maybe winning one game if we're in a good year. So they're not happy. But a lot of towns like New York would pay for that tenfold,
But what an incredible conference. I mean, there are a lot of good teams over there.
Yeah.
There are some really semi-great teams like Buffalo and Baltimore, and then there are some other good teams. It's gonna be a hard row for the Steelers to get into the playoffs this year.
This one could. We're 3 games in.
I know.
But this could be the Bills' year. It could be. I'm starting to feel it a little bit. I know they got to get past Baltimore. And that's going to be difficult. But Kansas City does not look like Kansas City anymore. And I think the Bills are ready to put them in the rearview mirror and move forward, at least in the state that they're in right now. They're actually going to play in a few weeks in the regular season, so we'll get to see it at some point here in the regular season. But it's not the regular season they want. They want them in the playoffs. They want to put them to bed once and for all. But they'll have to not only get by Kansas City, they'll obviously also likely have to get by Baltimore unless they get lucky and someone upsets Baltimore. Then it'd be an easy path for the Bills. But we'll see. Long season to go. Way too early to talk about that kind of stuff. But I do see it this year. Like maybe the Bills have finally gotten to the place where they can get all the way to the big game. And then, of course, if they get to the big game, then they got to do the deed and get it done.
And they have either the 1A or 1B best player in the league. It's either him or Lamar Jackson. I mean, when one watches Josh Allen play, you just marvel at this guy. This guy could go down when it's all done now. If he stays healthy, this guy could go down. Well, he's going to go down as one of the best. But if he stays healthy, if you pull away all the Super Bowl titles from Tom Brady, just look at who's the better quarterback.
What he can do on the field.
What he can do is incredible. I mean, he can throw it. He can run it. He's tough. He's a leader.
Yeah.
He's
got great ingredients.
As they say, the term is now, he's a problem.
He
is a problem for the other side.
All right. We'll put a nice neat bow on it, Bud. Thank you as always. Another episode of Brunch with Bud.
Okay, Jimmy boy. See you next week.